Is it possible that the entire universe is just a giant simulation, where human consciousness is not only a participant, but also the architect, scriptwriter, and possibly even the set designer? If that did not make you laugh and go, "Wait, what?" then you are definitely in the right place to dive into one of the most mind-bending questions ever posed. Before we go on this epic thought journey, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Why We Question, so you can keep up with all our explorations into the mysteries of existence. Who knows? Your consciousness might be shaping this channel's success as we speak. Now, let us get into the heart of it. Does human consciousness create reality? At first glance, this question seems simple, but as with many profound ideas, it is like opening Pandora's box. You cannot just answer it with a yes or no, because it immediately leads to deeper questions. What is consciousness? What do we even mean by reality? And how could the two be connected? These are not new questions. They have been explored for centuries by philosophers, theologians, scientists, and more recently, quantum physicists. Still, they remain as mysterious and tantalizing as ever. To begin with, let us define the two main players in this discussion. Reality, in the traditional sense, is often thought of as the external objective world, the stuff you can touch, see, hear, and measure. It is the chair you are sitting on, the sky you look at, the laws of physics that keep everything in order. It is supposed to exist whether or not anyone is there to observe it. Consciousness, on the other hand, is far trickier to define. At its core, consciousness is the awareness of oneself and one's surroundings. It is the you that experiences thoughts, emotions, and sensations. While everyone knows what it feels like to be conscious, explaining what it is or how it works is a completely different story. Is consciousness just a byproduct of the brain's electrical and chemical processes? Or is it something deeper, something that exists independently of the physical body? This leads us to one of the most fascinating and controversial ideas out there. The possibility that consciousness does not just passively observe reality, but actively shapes or even creates it. This idea is not as far-fetched as it might sound. It is supported in part by some of the strangest findings in quantum physics. One of the most famous experiments in this field is the double-slit experiment, which reveals something almost magical about how particles behave. When unobserved, particles like electrons act like waves, spreading out and creating interference patterns. But when someone observes them, they behave like particles, as if the act of observation collapses all the possibilities into a single outcome. This phenomenon, known as the observer effect, has led some scientists to wonder whether consciousness itself plays a role in shaping the physical universe. But hold on, what does observation really mean in this context? Does it require a human mind? Or could any form of measurement or interaction count? This is where things get murky. While some interpret the observer effect as evidence that consciousness is integral to reality, others caution against jumping to conclusions. After all, a machine can observe in the sense of measuring a particle's behavior, and it is hard to argue that a machine has consciousness. Still, the idea that observation influences reality opens up fascinating possibilities. If the universe behaves differently depending on whether it is being observed, does that mean consciousness is woven into the very fabric of existence? Beyond physics, this question also has deep roots in philosophy. For centuries, thinkers like Immanuel Kant and George Berkeley have suggested that reality is not something that exists independently of us, but is instead shaped by our perceptions and minds. According to idealism, a philosophical perspective championed by Berkeley, the external world is essentially a mental construct. For example, the color red does not exist out there in the world. It is created by our minds interpreting certain wavelengths of light. Without a conscious observer, there is no red, only energy moving through space. This raises profound questions. If all of reality is filtered through consciousness, can we ever truly know what is real? Could it be that reality itself is a product of the mind? Taking this a step further, some modern thinkers argue that human consciousness might play an even more active role in creating reality. The law of attraction, popularized by books like The Secret, suggests that our thoughts and beliefs can shape the events and circumstances of our lives. While this idea is often dismissed as pseudoscience, it is rooted in a psychological truth. Our perceptions and attitudes do influence our experiences. If you believe the world is a hostile place, you are likely to interpret events in a way that confirms that belief. Conversely, a positive outlook can help you notice opportunities and solutions that others might overlook. In this sense, consciousness does shape the reality we live in, even if it is not literally altering the laws of physics. However, there are plenty of skeptics when it comes to the idea that consciousness creates reality in any meaningful way. Critics argue that this line of thinking risks falling into solipsism, the belief that only one's own mind exists. If you take the idea too far, you end up in a paradox where nothing outside your own consciousness can be proven to exist. Moreover, the scientific consensus is that the universe existed for billions of years before humans ever showed up. Galaxies formed, stars exploded, and planets emerged, all without any human consciousness to observe them. Does this not suggest that reality exists independently of the mind? Then there is the question of what consciousness actually is. If it is merely a product of the brain, a complex arrangement of neurons firing in patterns, then how could it possibly influence something as vast and external as the universe? On the other hand, some theories propose that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of reality, just like space, time, and energy. This idea, known as panpsychism, suggests that consciousness is not something unique to humans, but is instead a universal property present in all matter. If true, this could mean that consciousness is not merely a product of reality, but a building block of it. So, where does all this leave us? The idea that human consciousness creates reality is as compelling as it is enigmatic. On one hand, there is evidence, from quantum physics to psychological research, that our minds play a significant role in shaping the way we experience the world. On the other hand, the idea that consciousness can actually create or fundamentally alter the external universe remains highly speculative. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Consciousness may not create reality in the literal sense, but it undeniably shapes our understanding and experience of it. And if reality is shaped by perception, then perhaps our collective consciousness holds more power than we realize. This video does not claim to have all the answers, but that is the beauty of it. The relationship between consciousness and reality is one of the most profound and puzzling questions we can ask, and exploring it opens the door to infinite possibilities. Make sure to like and subscribe to Why We Question so you can join us on the next leg of this intellectual adventure. Who knows? The very act of subscribing might just be another way your consciousness is shaping reality, or, at the very least, shaping the future of this channel.